What's good, YouTube? It's Adam from I'm Music Mobile. Welcome to a brand new video. Today, we're going to go ahead and remake from scratch Travis Scott's theme. The tempo for this one is 148 beats per minute, and the track is produced by Travis Scott and Jahaan Sweet. We're going to start off with that main theme synth, that huge chord stacked synth. So let's get to it. For this sound, we're going to bring in Logic's ES2 synthesizer. We will be working off of the default settings that loads up, but first, let's get to that pattern. All right, so that's the chord progression right there. Next, we're just going to take all of our MIDI and we're just going to randomize the velocity so it's not all hitting at the exact same velocity. So we're just going to go from let's do 100 and we'll go from 80 to 100. We'll select and operate. That'll give us a random velocity for each note. The next thing we got to get in there is the pitch bend. So if we go to our MIDI section here, we're going to click this right here. It's the automation for our MIDI. Over on the bottom corner here, we're going to change it from note velocity to, let's change it to pitch bend. So it's going to bend right at the end of each chord. So it's going to start right here. So what I'm going to do is just going to tap here in the gray area. I'm going to zoom on in. I'm going to tap a second note right over here. Another one here. I might need one more, just like that. And I'm going to drag this all the way down. So now it's going to give us that pitch bend. I'm going to push this back so that we don't get bending on this chord. And then right here, we're going to go up. So we're going to tap that, one dot here, and we're going to push all the way up. Now let's get to adjusting that sound. First thing we're going to do is going to pull up the analog knob here just to give it some detuning. We're going to push up the cutoff. Next thing we'll do, we'll add in a little bit of drive just to give it a little bit of grit. And we'll add in a little bit of chorus as well. Now let's just apply a little bit of EQ. And that's the main synth right there. Next, go ahead and duplicate that over. We'll get over into the next section. For the next set of chords, we're going to use the same synth sound. We just got to change up the chords a little bit. All we got to do here is just count this down a little bit here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we got the next set of chords. And now let's layer that up with some bass. We'll create a new software instrument track. And for this one, we're going to bring in Logic's retro synth. We'll bring in a preset to start off with, synth bass, analog, classic analog bass. We'll start off with that one. I'm just going to pull this up a little bit here just to give us a little bit of some higher end in there. And for some reason, every time I hit play, the pitch of this is sliding a little bit up. So if you hear that, just ignore it. It has to loop through to play properly. I don't know why it's doing that, but it is. My Logic is sort of flipping out a little bit today, but just bear with me with that one here. You hear it there. All right, now let's get to working on that bass. We're going to bring up Logic's retro synth. We're going to pull the cutoff a little bit more out. Let's solo that out. Maybe I'll push this down one octave. That's a little bit better. I'm gonna add in a little bit of sine here. Give it a little bit more girth. I'm gonna pull back the envelope a little bit. And that's the bass sound right there. We'll layer that in with the synth. Except let's layer that bass with another bass and give it sort of that mid-range that we need. We're gonna create a new software instrument track once again. And I'm gonna bring in another instance of Logic's Retro Synth. We're gonna start off with a preset once again. We'll go to Synth Bass and we'll go to the Detune bass this time. We're gonna copy down the same pattern. It's gonna sound like this. Let's pitch that up 1 octave. I'm going to pitch this over 2 octaves for this one here. Now let's adjust this sound. Pull up the volume quite a bit here. I'm going to pull in some chorus. For our envelope over here, I'm just going to pull up the sustain. Let's cut out the release. And since this is our mid-range bass, let's go and just open up an EQ and just make sure we're taking out some of those low-end info that we don't need. Make it more mid-rangey or low mids. All right, next let's go ahead and move on into the next section. We're gonna get in a new sound. So we're gonna go ahead and create a new software instrument track. And for this, we'll design it from scratch. Once again, we'll bring in Logic's ES2 synthesizer. We'll start off with the default setting that loads up and then we'll adjust it in a bit. Now let's go ahead and open up Logic's ES2 synthesizer. We're gonna go ahead and change this over to a triangle oscillator for each one. So we get that right there. For the first oscillator over here, I'm gonna push it down 1 octave. Pull up the cutoff. Add in a little bit of drive. Add in a flanger because we're going to bring in a chorus after the fact just to give it a little bit more motion. Now let's go ahead and apply some effects just to make this a little bit more brighter, a little bit more fuller. First thing we'll do is bring in an EQ and take out some of the lows here. I'm going to boost the highs quite a bit. Next, let's bring that chorus. We'll go to modulation chorus. We'll go to a preset, this one here. It gives it a little bit more motion. Now let's just beef it up a little bit. We'll bring in Logic's Fat Effects. And I'm going to take out this filter right over here. Let's take out the bass enhancer as well. I'm going to change this one to an exciter. Now we just need to add a little bit more movement to the sound. And for that, I'm going to go over to modulation. It's going off of my screen right here, but the plugin is Scanner Vibrato. And we'll just use the default setting that loads up. And now let's go ahead and add in the drums. For this, I actually created a drum kit. I'm going to go to user patches. I'm going to go to drum kits and I'm going to go to the Fiend drum kit right over here. It got all the sounds we need for this remake. This drum kit is from the Utopia Deconstructed kit. If you are interested in the Utopia sounds and drum sounds, I put together a kit. The Utopia drum kit got every single sample from every song as far as the drums go. So let's start off with the main snare, something easy. You're just gonna go on the 3, except the second one is gonna be taken off. All right, let's bring in the hi-hat. Once again, another simple pattern, just a 2-step 8s hit. Let's go ahead and bring in the open hat. Let's bring in the clap. Change this over to 32 steps. Let's draw on that 808. Just following that pattern that we just put together, I'm just going to make the velocity hit a lot harder. Push that down a couple octaves. Just put on a limiter so we're not distorting a bit here. Pretty much going to copy the same notes from here, except I'm going to create a new software instrument track. I'm going to bring this all the way up into our instrument section. Drag this down. For this, we're going to bring in Logic's Alchemy. I'm going to go over to a preset synths, and we're going to bring in the 80s synth pop lead preset. We'll change that in a bit. Let's just go ahead and just work with this pattern here. I'm going to duplicate this over 2 octaves. Except we've got to make sure this can actually play more than one note. So let's go over to advanced, and we'll go to 2 here. Let's flip that over to that. Bring back the filter envelope. Next is going to layer that up with a Subbass. I'm going to create a new software instrument track, and I'm going to copy down the same pattern. For this, we're going to bring in Logic's Retro Synth, and we're going to bring in a preset once again. We're going to go to Synth Brass, and we're going to go to a slow swell brass. For this, I'm just going to use the one note over here, the lower octave one. Now let's adjust the synth to make it sound like the one in the track. Let's bring in that crazy Synth Arp. I'm going to bring in the ES2 synthesizer right here. We will work off of the default setting that loads up here. So let's just close that out for now. We're going to copy the same chords from the beginning. It's going to sound like this. Except we'll cut the chord a little bit. So I'm going to cut this second one out. We're going to stretch this one out. And then we're going to take this, push that over. And I just want to turn off that note pitch bend that we put in. Let's turn that off. Now, of course, we don't want that as a chord. We got to turn it into an ARP. So for that, we're just going to use Logic's, we'll go to the MIDI effects section right here. We'll go to Logic's arpeggiator. We're going to change our rate to 32, and we're going to use the up down. Except the notes are a little bit too long because we're playing it as a chord. So what we got to do here is go to options, and we're going to pull down our note length. I think that sounds good like that, and mixed with the bass. Except it doesn't quite sound exact, so let's adjust that sound. I'm going to pull up the detuning here on our analog knob. Pull up the cutoff all the way. I'm going to pull up the distortion a little bit. Add in a little bit of drive. Add in some flanger. Kind of gives it that sparkliness to it. And then we'll just adjust our envelope over here. We'll make it a little bit sharper, so we're going to pull up the attack. Let's pull down the sustain. Pull down the decay. Pull down the release. Let's pull up the volume a little bit more. That sounds good, but let's make it a little bit better. We'll go to delay. We'll go to sample delay. And I'm just going to delay one channel. Not too much here. Maybe about like 3 seconds-ish. Just pushes that wider. Next is bring in EQ. Filter out the lows. And then let's bring in the chorus. We'll bring in Logic's chorus. I'm going to go to glimmering chorus once again. Just add it in a little bit there. And then we're just going to drag this bass over as well, just to layer it up. I'll just loop that up. And then we'll get to the next section. We're just going to copy over this right over here. We're going to bring that into here. Just going to pitch this down a couple octaves. Let's loop that up. I'm going to bring a new software instrument track. We're going to bring in Logic's Vintage Bellotron. We're going to use the 3 violins preset here. Let's just copy this down. We'll layer it up, and it's going to go like this. And we're going to do the same thing for this here. And for this sound, I'm just going to go ahead and just manipulate this a bit here. Let's copy over the drums. And that's pretty much the beat right there. We got all the different sections. Now, all we need to do is add in some mixing, add in some arrangement, and we got the remake to Fiend. That's the remake right there to Travis Scott's Fiend remade in Logic Pro. If you're Logic users out there, I'm going to go ahead and save this entire session for you. Place it as a downloadable link below this video. If you don't use Logic, I got your back as well. I'll export the MIDI stems, audio stems, and of course include the drum kit that you heard in this remake. You can find that playback down below the like button. If you have a question on this or just want to chat, let's go and talk in the comment section below. But on that, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this one. We'll catch you on the next one. Later.